In the world of firearms, not every caliber lives up to the promise on paper. With so many options out there, it's easy to be drawn in by impressive ballistics, a flashy name, or that passionate recommendation from a fellow shooter who swears by a niche round. But once the novelty wears off, reality hits, and sometimes it hits hard. Maybe the ammo is ridiculously expensive, impossible to find, or only available in limited runs. Maybe the recoil is more punishing than practical, or the performance in real-world conditions doesn't justify the hype. Sometimes, it's not even about the cartridge itself, but the ecosystem around it: lack of compatible firearms, limited upgrades, or zero aftermarket support. The point is, a caliber that seems like a great idea in theory can end up collecting dust in your safe or draining your wallet at the range. In this video, we're breaking down 5 such calibers rounds that, for one reason or another, too many shooters end up regretting buying. This isn't meant to offend loyal fans or start a caliber war. It's about practical insights from real experiences, so you can make smarter decisions before committing to a new round. Whether you're building out your collection, shopping for your first firearm, or just curious about what to avoid, these are 5 calibers that might not be worth the investment, and we're going to tell you why. Number 5. 40 S&W, the law enforcement fad that fizzled. The 40 S&W had its moment in the spotlight: brief, loud, and ultimately short-lived. Originally developed in the early 90s as a compromise between the 9mm and the .45 ACP, it quickly gained traction with law enforcement agencies across the US. The idea was solid: more stopping power than a 9mm, with higher capacity and less recoil than a .45. For a while, it seemed like the perfect middle ground. But over time, reality set in. The 40 S&W came with snappy recoil that made follow-up shots harder, especially for less experienced shooters. It also caused more wear and tear on firearms designed originally for 9mm, leading to durability and maintenance issues. As modern 9mm ammo technology improved, offering excellent performance with less recoil and cheaper, more plentiful rounds, many agencies quietly began switching back. Today, the 40 S&W sits in an awkward spot. It's not as efficient as a 9mm, not as powerful as a .45, and not particularly pleasant to shoot. While it's still out there, it's no longer the go-to choice it once was. Unless you find a great deal on a used .40, most shooters will be happier sticking to more practical calibers. Number 4. 32 H&R Magnum, the underwhelming upgrade. On paper, the 32 H&R Magnum looked like a promising step up from the classic .32 long, a round with better velocity, more energy, and the potential for modern defensive use. When it hit the market in the 1980s, some saw it as the next big thing in compact revolvers. But in reality, the upgrade never really lived up to the hype. The 32 H&R Magnum sits in a strange middle ground. It offers more power than a .22 or .32 long, sure, but not enough to truly rival proven self-defense calibers like the .38 Special or 9mm. Its recoil is mild, which is a plus, but that comes at the cost of real stopping power. It's also notoriously hard to find on store shelves and usually more expensive when you do. That limited availability makes practice expensive and carrying it less practical. What really holds the 32 H&R Magnum back is its identity crisis. It's not quite a plinker, not quite a defensive round, and doesn't really dominate in any category. Unless you're a collector or a die-hard fan of small caliber revolvers, this cartridge is likely to leave you feeling underwhelmed and wondering why you didn't just go with a more common option. Number 3. 41 Magnum, the forgotten middle child. The 41 Magnum was supposed to be the perfect balance: more powerful than a .357 Magnum, but more manageable than the mighty .44 Magnum. Introduced in the 1960s with high hopes, it aimed to give law enforcement a hard-hitting alternative with better ballistics and controllability. But somewhere between theory and reality, the 41 Magnum lost its way. The biggest issue? Identity. The round never found a strong footing with law enforcement, partly because full power loads were too much for everyday carry, while reduced police loads didn't justify the extra size and recoil over a .357. It also didn't offer enough of an advantage over the .44 Magnum for hunters or revolver enthusiasts to truly catch on. As a result, it ended up stuck in the middle, too much for some, not enough for others. Adding to the problem is the limited selection of firearms chambered in .41 Magnum and the high cost and scarcity of ammunition. You won't find it on many store shelves, and when you do, it's not cheap. While it still has a small group of loyal fans, most shooters find themselves asking, why bother? In the crowded Magnum market. Number 2.25 ACP, the weakling in your pocket. The .25 ACP was once seen as a pocket-sized solution for personal defense, offering more reliability than a rimfire .22 LR in ultra-compact pistols. It found its place in tiny Saturday night specials and deep concealment guns, but in today's world of modern ballistics and micro-compacts, the .25 ACP feels like a relic of the past, and a pretty weak one at that. Ballistically, the .25 ACP leaves a lot to be desired. Its low velocity and small projectile offer minimal stopping power, even with modern ammo. In real-world defensive scenarios, it often fails to penetrate deeply enough to be effective, especially when compared to similarly sized 9mm or even .380 ACP handguns now widely available. And while .25 ACP pistols are small and easy to carry, they usually lack quality sights, good triggers, or reliable safety features, essentially sacrificing shootability for size. To make matters worse, ammo isn't as cheap or common as you might expect for such an underpowered round. You're left with a caliber that's weak, outdated, and not especially affordable. In the end, the .25 ACP might be better than nothing, but just barely. With today's compact firearm technology, there are far better options that actually stop threats. Number 1.32 ACP, the mouse gun that time left behind. Once hailed as a revolutionary cartridge for early semi-automatic pistols, the .32 ACP was the original choice for discreet self-defense over a century ago. Designed by none other than John Browning in 1899, it found its way into iconic guns like the Walther PP and Colt Model 1903. But while it once had a respected place in both civilian and law enforcement circles, time hasn't been kind to the .32 ACP. In today's world, the .32 ACP is outclassed in nearly every way. Its ballistics are modest at best, with low velocity and limited energy transfer. For personal defense, it struggles to meet even minimum penetration standards in modern ballistic testing. While it's true that recoil is very mild, the trade-off is stopping power that's more theoretical than practical. And with the rise of compact 9mm and .380 ACP pistols that offer far superior performance in similarly sized frames, the .32 ACP simply doesn't make much sense anymore. Ammo availability isn't great either. .32 ACP is more expensive and less common than it should be, especially given its mediocre performance. Unless you're a collector or looking for nostalgia, this is one mouse gun caliber that modern shooters are better off leaving in the past.